Hi, my name is Phil. I like talking about politics, but in the series of the Corona Diaries, what I'd like to discuss is something which I'm hoping is going to be helpful, because there are a couple of things that people going into self-isolation are finding incredibly difficult that doesn't affect someone like me. And I don't mean because I'm doing this and I'm able to work from home anyway, but it's the effects of being able to get groceries and stopping yourself going mad from the isolation. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, then please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So, when you're self-isolating, which it might sound like a great idea, get to work from home, because that would be good for some people. It means you don't at least have the travel or anything like that. And you can do it in your dressing gown if necessary, if you don't really want to get up and dressed or whatever. Or if you're having to self-isolate and it means not doing any work at all. This is going to impact people over the long term quite badly, because the idea of people isolating for a long period of time will drive a lot of people mad. But not someone like me. So I'm a teacher. I'm doing this full time now. Still do a little bit of part-time teaching, but I was a teacher full-time for 2 decades. And when it came to summer holiday, I often would be in all summer. They'd be in one room. Not necessarily this room. I've moved the computer to a different room, actually. And it was fine, because, a lot of my hobbies involve basically being on the computer or just doing other things around the house. And I'm not really a big one for going out or anything like that. I'll tell you how bad it is in terms of my going out. I had my bloods tested a few years ago for vitamin D. And they were found to be quite low. This did not surprise me. What did surprise me, and I am strangely proud of this, and I really shouldn't be, was the doctor, who herself is getting on, so a very, very experienced GP, said that these were the lowest vitamin D levels she had seen in someone who was still breathing. And she didn't add that last bit, but she said they were the lowest vitamin D levels she can remember seeing. And bearing in mind, now you'd normally expect round about winter time, even nowish, people's vitamin D levels to be a bit depressed, which is why depression is a big thing. I always talk to students in the winter months and explain to them about the effects of vitamin D on their mood and so on, and how, because, you get it from the sun, contact with the skin, but you can also get it from some foods, and I would advertise, certain foods that are quite good for vitamin D. And, but no, this was at the height of summer. This was in the middle of summer. My vitamin D levels were the lowest you'd ever seen. And it's because I'm basically a vampire. And, so something like that wouldn't affect me. If I was told, you're going to be off work for 3 months and you won't even be able to do anything at home, which isn't actually true of a teacher, but it could be of other jobs, it wouldn't make me go doolally, be like, okay, 3 months of playing on the computer, would ultimately be it. But there are a lot of people who cannot take this, might be very gregarious and need to have regular social contact with others, or just need to get out of the house. And self-isolation doesn't mean you can't get out of the house, by the way, but you have to be a bit careful about it. But they like to go to places that are inevitably going to be crowded or whatever. Just the idea of being stuck in their home, because for a lot of people, their home is just where they live. They'll watch the telly there for a bit. Oh, that's going to be trickier. I gather they're scaling back EastEnders because they've had to stop filming it. So they're just going to bring it out twice a week. I don't actually know how many times is normal. When they said it was going to scale it back to twice a week, I thought, what, is it on more than once a week then? But apparently it is. But to make them last. So you can't even watch EastEnders as much as you used to. And but what I am suggesting very, very seriously is think of getting a hobby. Seriously. You will have hobbies at the moment. Those hobbies may not be conducive to self-isolation. Think about some things that you might be interested in, that you can do at home, potentially with others, and I don't necessarily mean dust off the board games. That'll work for a certain amount. Probably a lot of people have got some board games. Maybe you've not played them for a while. Maybe just start with those around people. Don't cough all over each other when you do it. But start to actually think to yourself, are there maybe some hobbies that I've not had time for before, or that I've never really thought about? And try and explore some of those things, because you've got to bear in mind, if you are self-isolated, and you may have to self-isolate for some time, and you know that, then just think to yourself, what am I going to do? Because my life is going to fundamentally change, potentially for weeks, maybe even months. My life has to fundamentally change. The pattern of my life has to fundamentally change. Be proactive with it. Don't wait until you go do lally. Think to yourself, right, at the end of each day, potentially, just think to yourself which parts of the day were tough to get through or that you didn't really enjoy, because that's going to be amplified in a week or two. And think, what would have made that passage of time go a little bit more easily? Maybe people could learn to cook. All those people going to the shops, buying out the bags of pasta, getting the dried pasta and thinking to themselves, oh no, there's no pasta, what am I going to do? Do you know what? Do you know what's not running out of stock? Eggs, flour and olive oil. Learn to make your own pasta. You know, something like that. You've got the time to do it now. You don't need to pour a bag of dried pasta into a pan. You've got the time to make nice meals. Maybe learn some proper cooking. Instead of just watching a cooking program and go, oh, that'd be great, I'll do that one day. Oh, no, actually, I don't have the right type of pan. No, just watch some and actually try some. Something to you know, the sorts of things that you were too busy to do properly before, you'll do them. You know, just keep yourself going. Then the other issue is the supermarket. So I saw someone on Facebook in a Labour Party group, someone saying they're really worried. They're self-isolating, but their wife has a suppressed immune system. So they're even trying to sort of distance from each other as well in the house. And they said how difficult it was because he's self-isolating and he can't get a delivery slot, even though a lot of supermarkets are prioritising people who are self-isolating. At the end of the day, I suppose, I mean, there's a lot of people who are self-isolating, and how do we know there aren't people identifying as self-isolating when they're not really? They just want a delivery slot, and it is tricky. And my suggestion to this person was, well, reach out. You know, if you're on the Labour Party group, I'm guessing you're a Labour supporter. You know, you're in a community of socialists. Reach out locally and see if someone can come round. And they won't have to come round and come into the house or anything like that. You can communicate over the internet as to what's needed. You can pass the money through the letterbox or something like that, and they'll leave the groceries just outside your door or something. There's ways to do that. So if you are struggling to do a supermarket run, contact people locally. Find local groups, Facebook groups or something like that, and just see if someone will be able to deal with it for you. Now, where it will become very difficult is, of course, normally you would think to that, okay, like I've just said, pass the money through the letterbox. But if you can't get the money and you can't get out to draw the money out, and that's not necessarily a given. Self-isolating doesn't necessarily mean you can't go outside. Check the latest advice. Don't go on my word for things like that, though. But I would have thought, but let's say you're not actually anywhere near a cash machine either. Maybe what we need to do is have some sort of system arranged where you can ring in to a supermarket and pay over the phone or something like that. Maybe see if your local supermarkets or other shops can come up with some sort of system for you to pay electronically, but for someone else to actually bring the goods. If that supermarket doesn't have enough of their own staff to deliver it, someone else can go and deliver it, but you say, well, can I pay for it electronically? There may be things like that are needed. I mean, this sort of thing would be easy with more national coordination. But if it's just a case of getting a few odds and ends for the self-isolation because you didn't go out and panic buy a lot of people, good on you. Just ask locally. I'm sure there'll be people that will be able to help you out and to sort out paying for it, some way. So those are sort of my thoughts initially in terms of the two major problems people are going to be finding themselves. Let me know your ideas down below for any problems like this that you have solved if you're going to be affected. Like I say, I'm not as badly affected because I work from home anyway. And the teaching that I do, I'm also going to be doing remotely. There's another advantage to being a YouTuber. I can do video lessons and make sure my students get those, and also remotely access their work via Google Classroom. And of course, this I can do at home. And I'm not self-isolating. I'm not ill. I'm now not likely to become ill. It's not impossible, but it's not likely because I'm at home, only going to the supermarkets to do bits of shopping. My girlfriend's working at home. Her daughters will now not be going to school and college after this week. So the chances of me becoming infected are that much lower. I mean, that's the benefit of doing the closing of the schools. It now massively reduces the risk of getting infected if you're not already. Assuming I'm not already infected. And if I did have spare time, which actually at the moment I'm even busier, but if I did have spare time, I got computer games. So get yourself a hobby and sort yourself out with someone locally who can help you with any shopping that you need to do. So I hope you found the video interesting. If you did, don't forget to click the like button. If you'd like to support the channel further, then please also click the Patreon link for details. And until next time, I'll see you later.